Dear student, today we are going to discuss about the two important concepts of economic sociology, that is reciprocity and gift. We know that economic institution influence social institution and vice versa, that is social institution influence economic institutions. Hence a new discipline has emerged known as economic sociology. Whenever we talk about the economic sociology, economic is in the base of economic sociology, and when we talk about the economy, it means four important concepts are there, four important elements are there. One is production, second is distribution, third is exchange, and fourth is consumption. This production, distribution and exchange and consumption is also related with reciprocity and gifts. Hence today we discuss about what type of reciprocity is found in every society. When we talk about economy, the economy is a social institution that is vital to sustaining society through the production, distribution, exchange and consumption of products, that is good and services. Some goods are tangible and are also necessary, like food, clothing and shelter, or some are desired, like mobile, TV and laptop, etc. Whereas services are intangible activities for which people are willing to pay, such as dry cleaning, movies or medical care, etc. Some services are those produced by human labor, that is the person who collects your garbage for the week, etc. is known as the labor based on services. And other services are those produced mainly by capital, that is a communication service provided by the telephone company. Labor includes physical and intellectual services. These services include training, education and personal abilities that people contribute to the production process. Capital is money or property that is owned or used by an individual or corporation. Obviously, money or financial capital is needed to invest in physical capital such as machinery, equipment, building, warehouses and factories used in production. This is essential item of the economic institution. While studying economic activities in economics, it basically determines and coordinates the process of production, distribution, exchange and consumption. They are usually the study area of economists. This is the subject matter of economics. Hence, we include this type of topic in economic sociology also. These activities are also studied by a sociologist because economic institutions affect all other aspects of the society and vice versa. There is an interdependence between the economy and socio-cultural aspect of the society. Therefore, sociologists cannot ignore the study of economic institution, and it does so through the subfield of economic sociology. This is the subject matter of economic sociology, in which we study the economic institution like production, distribution, exchange and consumption. Economic sociology focuses on economic activities and how they are structured into organization, how they are organized according to the conditions, values, norms that generally govern economic activities, that is contract law, and sanctions, rewards and punishment. Here we will discuss about the reciprocity and gift in economic system. These are the two important concepts known as reciprocity, that is one is giver and one is receiver. In vice versa, that is one is receiver, now he is giver, and those who are giver is now receivers. When we talk about the reciprocity, is a mutual process of exchange of goods or services between two parties, which helps them to establish a relationship for future exchange as well. We want to establish certain types of relations in society. Hence, this reciprocity and gift is important part of interaction between two individuals, two groups or two communities. We get to see reciprocity from primitive society to modern society. In every society we found this reciprocity. Reciprocity is a process of exchanging goods with other people for mutual benefit. The norms of reciprocity, sometimes called the law of reciprocity or theory of reciprocity, is a social norms where if someone does something for you, you feel obligated to return the favor. If one speaks of a two-way street or transaction about something, there are other words and phrases for reciprocity. That is, giver and receiver, two are interacting with each other. This is known as the reciprocity. Reciprocity is a reciprocal process of giving and taking of goods between people or groups of people, where the giver and the recipients benefits from such exchange, or at least one of the two benefits. A gift is a tangible or intangible item given freely or upon request by one person to another, where there is minimal expectation of an immediate return. How reciprocity develops? This is a process through which we develop reciprocity in the society, and through process of learning, that is known as socialization. Socialization is a process in which a biological human being is converted into social human being, because at the time of birth a child is neither a social nor asocial or antisocial, but through socialization he learns so many things according to the society and be a active member of the society, and this learning process is known as the socialization, and this is the base of reciprocity. Socialization is the process by which the individuals learns the rules, ways of behavior, etc. of the society. Socialization is the process based on social interaction by which the individual learns to accept and adopt to social behavior, through which he transforms from a biological being to a social being by learning the social norms. Learning here refers only to the learning of accepted values, norms and recognized practices of the society. The norms which are recognized by the society, we learn through socialization and be an active member of that society. Through experience, children learn to share with others, take turns and engage in reciprocal action. Reciprocity plays an important role in the development and continuation of relationship. This is the base of relationship between two individuals, two groups or two parties. It also plays an important role in motivating others to adopt certain beliefs or behaviors. If you have ever felt obligated to do something for someone because they did something for you in the first place, you were probably responding to the reciprocity norms. This is just one example of one type of social norms that can have a powerful effect on our behavior. The reciprocity norms works on a simple principle. After people do a favor, they feel obligated to return the favor. That it means this is a two-way process. It is a process that leads to the formation of social relationships. To break down the process of such exchange, let us take the example of sale of goods in the market. While the seller takes action by offering a price on his goods to the buyer, there is always a counter response on the part of the buyer, indicating a formal acceptance of the seller's action. This is also known as reciprocity between the seller and the buyer. Similarly, for example, when your new neighbors bring a plate of sweets to welcome you to the neighborhood, so when they ask you to babysit their dog during the holidays, you may feel obligated to return the favor. Such feedback on the seller's action is the driving force for building up and maintaining the relations between the two. Homans and Goldner argue that maintaining this type of relationship between the two requires constant exchange, which would otherwise be affected by irregularities in the process of exchange. This is essential. Interaction is essential between the two groups or two process. Homans discuss about the social exchange theory in the society in which two persons interact with each other and develops continuous relationship in the society. This means that the buyer is bound to answer to the sellers. This is not to say that this type of exchange is carried out at all times in a balanced manner. Sometimes it may be unbalanced, where each action of sellers has a parallel response from the buyer. Such a relationship fails and cannot be sustained because of inconsistencies in communication through exchanges. When we talk about the word barter, barter means exchange in primitive society. It is basically a bargain in which getting something by giving something or giving something to get something. At the same time, they emphasize on spending the minimum cost to achieve the goal. Peter Blow writes in his book that the concept of regulation refers to voluntary social action that are rewarding responses to others. When this expected response is not received by the individuals, the task stops. Peter Blow says that the exchange of rewards and cost is in interaction is based on the principle of reciprocity. When every person interacts with another or wants to make a relationship, he keeps his profit and loss in mind and wants to get the most benefit by paying the least amount. Exchange takes place in social relationship based on reward and the price that can be obtained for them. Blow says that many times it also happens that to please other people who are powerful, who are superior, they have to pay more than the benefits they get. This type of exchange is called unbalanced exchange. Such a practice of exchange, according to Goldner, is embedded within established social system where actors continually and reciprocally exchange through the giving and taking of economics as well as non-economic products or other services. Build relationships that pave the way for further exchanges. It means that the satisfaction of the doer consists in supplying more of what is given than the equivalent of what is given, so that in turn increases the amount of incentives which also save one from becoming indebted to the another. Here we discuss about the types of reciprocity. Marshall Sahlins, in his famous work Stone Age Economics, published in 1972, identified three types of reciprocity found between people in the past as well as in the present. These three are as follows. First is generalized reciprocity. This type of reciprocity is found mostly in the family or in the friend circle. This type of reciprocity is observed in societies where people have an emotional attachment to each other and thus feel compelled to provide goods or services to others. This form often involves exchange between families or friends. No expectation of favor in return. Instead, people simply do something for another person based on the assumption that the other person will do the same things for them. This type of reciprocity is related to altruism. However, Eke argues that in generalized reciprocity, services given by one are not necessarily returned by the recipient but by another. For this reason, Fowler and Christakis refers to this as pay it forward reciprocity. In general, this type of reciprocity is prominent in small human settlement in which the members of these settlements are relatives or live in culturally connected communities. This type of reciprocity is found in primitive society or a small society where a less number of people live and they interact in the society, and this type of reciprocity is known as the generalized reciprocity. Second is balance, that is equal reciprocity. This type involves the calculation of the value of the exchange and the expectation that the favor will be returned within a specified time frame. For example, a person may exchange something they have, whether it is a skill or a tangible items, for something of perceived equal value. This form of reciprocity involves forming relationship between communities as well as individuals and maintaining this relationship over a long period of time through reciprocity. A common example of balanced reciprocity is reciprocal invitation to festivals and other occasions of cultural significance. However, there may also be a transfer of goods or services that must be exchanged approximately equally in order to balance the exchange and satisfy expectation of the giver. Thus, the relationship between the two parties largely depends on reciprocity based on fair exchange without any direct bargaining. This type of reciprocity between two individuals, two groups, two family or two society is known as balanced. Both are equal in the interaction, in the reciprocity relations. This is known as the balanced reciprocity. And third type is negative reciprocity. Eyes for eyes and tooth for tooth. This is known as negative reciprocity. Negative reciprocity is the opposite of generalized reciprocity, and its use is rare among economists and social scientists. This form of reciprocity occurs when one party involved in an exchange is trying to learn more about it than the other person. Selling an essential items at an inflated price is an example of negative reciprocity. The distinguishing feature of this type of reciprocity is that both parties try to get as much as possible by returning as little as possible in the exchange process. This means that negative reciprocity involves receiving goods or services at normal cost. This includes retribution based exchanges such as bargaining, barter, gambling, cheating, thefts and other forms of extortion in which goods are obtained without penalty. It occurs in the absence of social interaction and is based on the notion of an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. According to game theorist Fair and Gotchlers, negative reciprocity is a model based on behavioral aspect and is important in the socio-economic environment. So, these three types of reciprocity usually found in each and every society: generalized, balanced and negative reciprocity. Examples of reciprocity in businesses: salesperson offering a free gift to a potential customer in the hope that this will cause them to return the favor by purchasing something. A leader who provides attention and guidance to followers in return for loyalty. Providing customers with some valuable information in exchange for signing up for future marketing offers. In relationship, reciprocity often looks like supporting each other in different situations. For example, you can console your partner when things don't go their way. In return, they will provide comfort and support when you are having a bad day. This is known as the interaction between two group or two parties, that is reciprocity. The gift is the base of reciprocity. Now we discuss about what gift is. A gift can be thought of as a social, economic or even cultural exchange for human societies around the world and is important for maintaining social relationship. Goods are exchanged between tribes through gift, barters and trades. The purpose of gift is to provide stability to individuals and group relationship by distribution of production. From primitive society to developed society, we get to see the practice of giving gifts. This is a common practice in each and every society where gift has been given to individuals, to parties or to societies. Gifts are important from both economic and social point of view. Economically, valuable and useful things and important things from the point of view of prestige are given as a gift. But from practical and economic point of view, even worthless and useless things are also given. There is a special practice of giving gifts on occasion like birth, marriage, death and Christmas also. Sometimes gifting is compulsory and sometimes it is optional. Giving gifts is indicative of rights and duties. When, on what occasion, who would be entitled to receive the gifts and which party would have the duty to give the gifts, all this is fixed. This reinforces group ties and there is a danger of group ties breaking down if gifts are not given. It means reciprocity is essential in giving and taking gifts. The gift exchange cycle involves obligations to give, receive and return. Sanctions may exist for including people to donate, for disapproval or for loss of reputation as a result of failure to do so. Refusal to accept a gift can be seen as a refusal of social interaction and may lead to hostility. The reciprocity of the circles lies in the obligations to return the gift. The prestige associated with the appearance of generosity dictates that the value of the return will be approximately equal to or greater than the value of the original gift. Based on the above description, we can say that anything of his need or choice which is provided without any expectation to please someone is called a gift. Gifts are always given to express happiness or to honor someone. Money is not expected in return. However, there may be an implicit expectation that the gifted person will continue to love and be generous to the giver. Now we discuss how many dimensions are there in gifts. Levi Strauss, studying tribal societies in his anthropological studies, The Elementary Structure of Kinship, published in 1969, noted that practices of exchange were important features of tribal economies. However, this may be only one way of understanding the notion of gifts, while gift has other dimensions as well. These dimensions can be understood from the following grounds. Social dimension, to maintain relationship between individual to individual, group to group, party to party, is known as social dimension. The main reason behind gift giving in society can be understood on the basis of inviting people to form relationship. Also, gift indicates the sincerity of the giver is sharing in the joys and sorrow of the recipient, although this is sometimes not overt but for hidden reason. Within the social dimensions, there is an expression of the ties and relations between the gift giver and the gift recipients. The work of Marcel Mauss is important in the way it interprets the idea of gift giving in the present era for two reasons. One is that Mauss considers gift giving is an ideal bound between the two parties, and second, he regards gift giving as a form of optimal behavior. Second is economic dimensions. The economic dimension behind gift giving is related to the conceptual connotation of gift giving and includes expressions of the value of the gift. The exchange of gift is considered a way of giving a substantial benefit to the recipient. It puts the recipients under obligation and obliges him to respond. Reciprocity in such exchanges upholds the reputation of the recipients that would otherwise constrain the relationship between the two. In the economic dimensions, it is clear that the relationship between the two parties is formal and it also includes the interest of the parties. But it is also to be kept in mind that the exchange should be fair, which satisfies both the parties and keeps the exchange balanced. The economic dimensions of gifts involve impersonal relationship where there is little or no trust. And third is personal dimensions. The process of gift exchange clarifies the identity experiences of the giver and the recipient in the personal dimensions of the gift. Thus, there is an expression of self and an affirmation of the identity of the giver through the way of giving a gift to another. So, three types of dimensions is there. One is social, economic and personal dimensions to understand why gift is important in society. Gift and tribal society. Goods are exchanged between the tribes through gifts, barter and trades. The purpose of gifts is to provide permanence to individual and group relationship through the distribution of produce or distribution of goods. That's why gifts are not negotiable in tribal societies. Whatever is given is accepted humbly. When the gift is less than the expectation, resentment can also arise in the mind, yet it is decided that what to give in return. While doing this, the value of the gifted item and the item to be given in return is not considered. As soon as the gift is received, the gift in return is not given at the same time, but it can also be delayed. Gifts are mostly given between friends and relatives. Its purpose is not only to get economic things but also to strengthen social relations and maintain continuity in them. That is the important to maintain social relationship. Gift is essential in tribal society also. Piddington said that the principle of reciprocity in the gift in which the recipient of the goods of service becomes obliged to return almost the same amount of service or goods to the giver as if we give a gift on the birth of our friend's son. It is his responsibility to do the same for us when the time comes. In primitive societies, many rights and duties arise from the gifts given on the occasion of marriage. Lobola is also a similar practice. In this, sheep, blankets and animals etc. are given to the bride's side by the groom's side. If a family is unable to raise lobola, its another relatives also provide assistance. The bride's side also does not keep the entire lobola with itself, but distributes it among its other relatives as well and gives it to other families to get a bride for the son of that family. In this way, a family gets help from many relatives in collecting lobola, and the recipient also distributes it among the other relatives. Therefore, lobola is not only indicative of the mutual duties and responsibilities of the families, but also creates a close organization in the group. Similarly, lobola, a potluck, is also a system in tribal society. This practice is found among the Haida, Tlingit, Tsimshian and Quenquital tribes living in Alaska and British Columbia on the northwest coast of the America. A potluck is a feast to which many people, even enemies, are invited. People are fed and fed a lot in the feast. Things are destroyed and distributed among the people. He does this to show how rich a person is and how much he can destroy and give. This increases his prestige. Thus, by potluck, a person gets a respectable social standing or position. It is done on many occasions like funeral potluck, house building potluck, face saving potluck, vengeance potluck, etc. The Kula is a well-known practice of gift exchange. A system of gift exchange is known as Kula, which Malinowski discusses as being similar to many systems practiced in Melanesia and Australia. In the Kula tradition, each able person establishes a common exchange of conch shell ornament with others. These ornaments are of two types: red conch shell necklace called solva and white conch shell armlets called moali. The Kula, both the exchanging parties do not exchange the same things, but if one party gives necklace, the other party will give bracelet, and the one who gives bracelet will not give necklace. Kula exchange can take place in four ways. The same Kula can be given interchangeably to different persons even in the communities. In the communities of two neighboring islands, communities across the ocean is closely proximity to each other without ceremony and exchange by organizing ceremonies in overseas community. It means this is a common practice among the tribal society where they give and take gift from one individual to another, one society to another, one party to another. This is a system prevailing in every society and in every economic institution, that is known as reciprocity and gift. Now we can summarize that in almost all societies, goods are exchanged through barter, reciprocity and gifts, the purpose of which is to strengthen and perpetuate individual and group relations in society. Reciprocity is a mutual process of exchange of goods or services between two parties, which helps them to establish a relationship for future exchange as well. A gift is tangible or intangible items given freely or upon request by one person to another, where there is minimal expectation of an immediate return. Reciprocity is a social norms involving a kind of exchange between people, responding to another's action with another equivalent actions. It is usually positive, that is reciprocating a favor, but can also be negative, that is punishing a negative action. A gift can be thought of as a social, economic or even cultural exchange for human societies around the world and is important for maintaining social relationships. Goods are exchanged through gift, barter and trades. This is essential elements of society or in economic institution or in social institution where we want to establish or maintain our social relationship. Hence, reciprocity as well as gifts are important.